Good evening, bakers. It's almost 10 o'clock at night and my leaven has risen. I'm a little tired, so it's risen. So I am going to now make my dough. Got some hot water in this bowl to warm it up. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my big measuring cup and I'm going to measure about 685 grams of water, purified water that I've left sitting on the counter to dechlorinate. So that's almost this whole jar. I think I'll use 675. I don't like to have a really high hydration because it's hard to work with later. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to warm this up to 55 seconds in the microwave because I want it to get about 95 degrees. So let's see how close I get it. I think I put my leaven into my proofing box at about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So 10 o'clock, that's been 8 hours for it to rise. It didn't rise absolutely to the very top of the jar, but it's close enough. I'm gonna just lower my camera while that water heats. And then, because you need to see more of what I'm doing and less of me. And while that's heating, I'm gonna dump out this hot water and dry out this water. I just don't want I don't want the cold of the bowl to cool off the water. So, there we go. Now, tare my scale back to 0. And let's check our water. See how we're doing. I'm pretty good at knowing how long to heat it up. I've been doing it a lot. One of the things that I advise is a little kitchen thermometer, digital. There's those instant reads. This is also one, but I haven't seen this again on Amazon, which is where I got it. So this is about 97 degrees, which is just perfect. So I'm going to pour all of this water into this bowl. And that's 675 grams of water. I don't do percentages, so don't ask me how much my hydration is. I'm gonna tare my scale and I'm gonna put all of my leaven into my bowl. It should be 200 grams, 210, something like that. So, in we go. Okay, so that's all of that. And I probably won't use that again. So I'm gonna tare my scale again, back to 0, because now I'm gonna use bread flour. I'm gonna use about 910 grams of bread flour. And then I'm going to use 100 grams of whole wheat. I need a bigger scoop. This takes too long. It's a lot of flour. I always do that. I hate it when I spill flour all over the place. Okay, I'm up to 850. Whoops. Just take a little out. There we go. 910 grams exactly. And because I'm very very obsessive. I just can't leave that flour on the counter. So that makes me nuts. Okay, and so now we're ready for our 100 grams of whole wheat. And maybe you've noticed, I store things in Cambros. I got started, and as usual, I got addicted. And I started putting everything in Cambros. The problem was that they can be a little pricey, and you can get them much cheaper. Any kind of plastic proofing tub you can get at Walmart or Target or someplace, and they're much less expensive. These are like $25 a piece, or they were a couple of years ago when I bought them. Okay, so that's all for that. It's just the flour, the water, the starter, and stir. Right now, I try to get all of the flour sort of moistened, dampened, get it off the bottom and the sides, because otherwise with your mixer, your stand mixer, which is what I use to do the mix, you end up, when you put it in your proofing tub at the end of the final mix, you've got a big glob of dry flour on the bottom, and it's not nice. And so I just try and work it all in the beginning. That way it saves hassle later on. It's hard to work it in after you've already mixed it. So if you get it off the bottom and off the sides in the very start, you won't have that problem. So this just takes a minute or two. As you can imagine, I'm going to be up making these videos well into the night, because I'm going to do this and then I have to let it auto-leese. And auto-leesing is when you allow the flour and the water to absorb and come together. And so that takes 30 minutes. And then I come in and do the final mix, add the salt and do the final mix. And then I have stretch and folds every 30 minutes for an hour and a half. So if I get this done at 10:15, then at 11:15, I'll come and do the final mix. And then at 11:15, I'll do my first stretch and fold. And at 11:45, I'll do my second stretch and fold. And at 12:15, I'll do my third stretch and fold. And then I can sleep for 4 hours. And then I'll come and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all of these videos because I don't need to make more bread. I'm going to be giving away this bread. Actually, I'm going to make another leaven tonight to make another bunch tomorrow, because I want to be able to give. I feel bad. I volunteered to give the neighbors some bread. When I saw them, I was cutting up a tree branch from my next door neighbor's house and getting it in the yard waste can. And they were walking their dogs, and they're new, and I had taken them some bread when they first arrived and some cinnamon rolls. And so I promised that I'd bring them some because we can't eat all of this bread. So now I need to give some to another neighbor who brought my husband some soup one day. And so I want to take her a loaf of bread when I take her container back. And then I feel bad. I can't do the guy next door. I ran into him today and I offered him some bread. So I need to make more than 2 loaves. I need 4. So I'm going to have to do this again tomorrow. So if I don't record all of this tonight, I will jump in at the next step when I do this tomorrow. And that might be the best idea. Anyway, right now I'm done getting it all moistened. So this is finished. And the next thing I'm going to do is put it on my stand mixer, because I have arthritis in my thumbs and I just can't knead it. I know you absolutely can do this by hand. You just wet your hands and you work it in and work it in and work it in for about 10 minutes. and then you let it auto-lees, and then you add your salt, and you do some more kneading. I know they say it's no-knead bread, but I don't know where they get that or why they say it, but it's not. You do have to do some kneading. They say that with artisan bread too, and as far as I can see, you have to knead artisan bread too. I'm not quite sure how come everybody calls it no-knead bread. Anyway, I'm gonna mix this for 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna just cover it with my cup towel. I'll take the dough hook off and I'll cover it with my cup towel, set my timer for 30 minutes. You don't need to hear me mixing it. So I'll come back in 30 minutes and show you what we do next. I use uniodized salt. You can use sea salt, fine sea salt, but you want to make sure it doesn't have iodine in it. Just like chlorine, iodine's a yeast killer. Probably isn't. It's all nuts. I just heard that and I've stuck with it. So anyway, I'll come and get my 20 grams of salt. What I do when I measure my 20 grams of salt on a digital kitchen scale, it's very hard to measure a tiny amount of anything. So maybe I'll do that while you're here. So turn your scale on, and once it comes up, put your container on top. Mine weighs 44 grams. So I know I need 20 grams, so I need 60 to bring it up to 64 in order to have my 20 grams. And there we go. So now I will have my 20 grams of salt all ready to go when my autolyse is finished. The other thing I do is I have my Cambro that I will oil and put a little bit of olive oil. I just use maybe 2 tablespoons. And then I use a pastry brush and I brush it all around the entire thing. And then I'll put my dough in it. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. So right now we're done with the scale. I can put that away. I get out my dough scraper and my bench scraper in preparation. I can put my salt away, my water away, my thermometer away. All of those things can get put away now. I don't need them. And okay, I'll see you in 30 minutes, 32, because I gotta run it for 2 minutes. All right. See you in 30.